G'day guys, Martin from Local Web Solutions here. Just going to give you a real quick tutorial on how to set up your lookalike audiences. And of course, lookalike audiences is probably one of the most important things that you can do for your Facebook campaigns. And the reason that I suggest doing it early on is because your lookalike audiences will actually grow as your data grows from your website. So if you're just starting out in business and just starting to advertise, it's a really good idea to get lookalike audiences and custom audiences set up first, because it will allow that data to grow and it will allow more data to give Facebook to go out and find people similar to you. So if you don't know what a lookalike audience is, the description is pretty much in the name. All it really is Facebook going out looking for people who are similar to the audience that is already engaged with your website or your products or anything along those lines. So it goes pretty in depth, but we're going to try and keep it really simple here today and just teach you how to create two of the most common lookalike audiences. One is of course from website traffic and the other is from an existing email marketing campaign. Now you don't need a lot to get this started, and even if you're just starting out, you have the ability to start creating lookalike audiences. And of course, lookalike audiences are the most efficient way of advertising, because you have a very good idea that these people are going to engage with you or become a customer because you've already got proof that people like that do, okay? So it really takes the hard work out of audience targeting for you by simply using what we already know. And it's probably the greatest thing that Facebook's released in terms of the advertising abilities, and I find it to be the most cost effective too. It's very cheap, and you get the best results from it if done right. So when you're starting out with your campaign, just jump into your ads manager. You should already have your business manager set up, and you should already have your Facebook pixel installed. If you need help doing this, just go through we've got some videos on how to install the Facebook pixel. We also have a full comprehensive guide on how to install the Facebook pixel. And in that, it does mention how to set up your business, your Facebook business manager. So go through and do that as well. Make sure all that is done before you go ahead and jump in here. But once you're in, you're going to set your objective. In this particular case, it doesn't really matter what we do. I'm just going to hit traffic objective because it's probably one of the ones I use the most. And we're just going to create a little test campaign here, okay? Don't need to worry about anything else because I just want to show you how to actually set up these audiences. So when you are on the next page, you're going to see all of the normal generic stuff that you need to fill out here, but all that we're going to focus on right now is creating your lookalike audience. So what you want to do, go down to the audience section and hit the create new button. And what you're going to do is you're going to get an option to make a custom audience or a lookalike audience. Now the difference is a custom audience is your basic retargeting. People who have already interacted with your business, you're targeting the same people, okay? And of course that is very crucial as well, but we're going to get into that in a different video. But right now, we want to focus on lookalike audience because we kind of want to work backwards here. We want to make sure that we have just as much cold outreach as we do warm outreach. And as you get more warm outreach, you're also building that cold outreach file as well. So let's hit the lookalike audience. And what we're going to do here, you're going to be able to select an existing data source if you have that. But if not, and if you're just starting out, or what I actually recommend you do, if you're starting a new campaign, what I suggest you do is just simply create a new source, okay? And what you want to do is go to custom audience without LTV. And the reason why is because LTV starts getting a little bit confusing, especially when you don't have a humongous amount of data on your clients yet. If you know the lifetime value of your customers, definitely put this in. It'll be a great exercise for you, but I'm just going to show you today how to just simply create a custom audience, which is probably the most crucial part of all of this. So here you've got all the options on how you can actually start creating your custom audiences. And all of this starts taking data from existing things that you may have done. So it might be off Facebook or on Facebook. So if you've launched a video, you can actually create a lookalike audience from people who have just engaged with your video. Now this is, of course, as you can imagine, extremely effective and can get really technical, and there's layers on layers on layers here. But it's for that reason I just want to keep it simple. Now you might want to jump in here and have a look at these, and I encourage you to do so because you can't really lose here. As long as you know who it is that engages with you, you'll be fine. But the most popular ones here are definitely going to be the website traffic and the customer file. Now, if you have an email list, you're going to want to use a customer file straight away, and you're going to want to update this pretty regularly as well. So go to your autoresponder or whatever it is that you use to collect emails. It could even be an offline type of inquiry register if you've got one, and you can simply input all of your customers' details in here. Now, it gives you a few options. Of course, you can include lifetime value. As I said, if you know that, go ahead and do that. Or you can do a file that doesn't include lifetime value. I'm just simply going to go plain and simple and use a file that doesn't include lifetime value. Okay. Now, importing from MailChimp, if you use MailChimp, you can go ahead and do that. I personally don't. So the way I do it is I jump onto my, I use ActiveCampaign. So I jump on my ActiveCampaign account. I export all of my lists, or I can export individual lists, and I get kind of a file on my customer. And then I just use this, and I download the file template over here, and I can simply add those details into this existing file template and then save it and upload it. Okay. Now, you've got different things in these templates, such as emails, phones, IDs, and so forth. The most important factors here are probably the phone, name, and email, because it's hard for people to fake that stuff. So most of the time, you're going to get a really good data source if you've got someone's email and their name, and you're going to get the absolute best results if you can somehow get their phone number too. Most people will be able to get phone numbers, and I highly, this is great for e-commerce especially, because I think most e-commerce stores and things like that will have access to customers' phone numbers. If not, don't worry about it too much. Just make sure you can get the email and the name, because any kind of data here is going to be good. Now, once you fill that out, you're of course going to save it, and then you're going to upload the file here. And then what will happen is you're going to name your audience. So let's just say that you uploaded a list of people who had previously purchased a specific type of item. Let's just say you're a supplement store and you sell protein powders. You might want to make a list called protein buyers. Okay. And then you might just in general want to put a general list too, to say general buyers. It's completely up to you how you do this, but the more accurate and the more segmented that you can be, the better the results are going to be. Okay. And the better your advertising will be down the end. So try your hardest to segment your audience as best as you can. So for example, you could do via how they purchased, or age, or gender, or anything like that. Okay, it depends on how your particular business runs. Once that's done, you hit next, and you will then have access to that particular lookalike audience. Okay, so Facebook will go out and will find people that look really similar, and then what you want to do is simply use a saved audience and click on that particular audience. Make sure that you've labeled it as a lookalike audience, so you know you're not dealing with your retargeted customers. Okay, make sure, because you are dealing with new customers here. So your advertising is going to be different to a lookalike audience as it would be to a retargeted audience. I hope that makes sense. The next most popular method of lookalike audiences is definitely going to be the website traffic. Now, this is my favorite. And the reason it's my favorite is because it's really easy to grow this lookalike audience. So it's really easy too. As long as your site's pixeled, all that you need to do is name your audience, really. That's it. I mean, obviously, once again, the more segmented you can be, the better. And if you're running things like Google Ads, or you're ranking organically on SEO for certain features of your business, such as services or products, it might be a good idea to segment people who visited a specific web page, put the URL in there, and then name the audience that is relevant. Okay, so for me, for example, it might be people who visited my Facebook ads page, and I would name that audience lookalike audience of people who engage with Facebook ads page. Okay, I then know that every single person who's on that lookalike audience is going to be very similar to the people who are already engaging with my Facebook section of my website. Okay, I'm going to then create that audience and go on. And now I'm going to go through and do this with as many segments and as many audience targets that I can possibly create. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and set them all up. Now, I might not use them straight away because you might not have enough data, But as you start doing your other activities, such as retargeting and general cold outreach and general promotions, you're going to start growing those areas, and the lookalike audience will get more and more accurate as you go on. And that's why it's very, very important to get this done from the beginning. So what I would do is just simply save those audiences. You don't even have to run an ad. Those audiences will be saved anyway. And Facebook will go out and do all the hard work for you. So I hope that's helped you, give you A, better understanding of lookalike audiences, and B, how to set them up. Don't be afraid to go in here and experiment. I think the one thing a lot of, I see a lot of business owners do is that they get a little bit scared to do anything that they're not really too familiar with when it comes to this space. If you're not a Facebook advertising guru or a genius, you might feel like you're a little bit scared of these things, but don't be, because this is actually made for the everyday business owner to kind of understand. Where it gets technical is when you actually have to communicate messages with those particular audience members, right? So if you're going to be doing a retargeting campaign, the message you send out needs to be different to a lookalike campaign, and a cold outreach campaign needs to be different altogether. There's a whole bunch of different aspects of a customer journey and a whole bunch of things that come into it where a real marketing expert will be able to really help you out in getting that stuff done. But don't be afraid to get in here and set these lookalike audiences up. This all is pretty straightforward kind of stuff. So on that note, I encourage you to go in and try this, and I hope this has helped you give you a better understanding of lookalike audiences, and I will see you in the next video.